As listeners, we want you to understand that the solution of business, tax, and legal issues depends on many factors, including local, state, and federal laws. Listeners' names and questions may be simulated. The show is not intended to offer business, tax, or legal advice, and Spiegel and Utrera PA, its attorneys, and Lawrence J. Spiegel recommend you seek legal advice from an attorney about your specific matter. AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. There are only two types of people, those in business and those who wish they were. Join Larry Spiegel, entrepreneur, author, and managing shareholder of Spiegel and Utrera PA, with host Joe Castello, as they tackle issues and challenges associated with starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business in today's highly competitive marketplace. It's time to start or expand your business today. And now, here's Larry Spiegel and Joe Castello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. I'm Joe Castello, and once again, we're joined in studio by entrepreneur, author, and managing shareholder at Spiegel and Utrera PA, Larry Spiegel. Larry, welcome back.
Joe, thank you. Thank you for having me back. Can't wait to get started and answer the questions that we have from all the listeners.
We've got questions, we've got listeners, and they've got things on their mind, and we're going to get to them here today. I know there are a lot of people out there who aspire to own their own business or get something going on the side, maybe in addition to their day job. It takes an idea. Of course, it takes commitment. It takes a lot of hard work. But if you do those things, there's a good chance you could get something going out there.
Yes. There's all types of opportunities available.
Sometimes, though, there's a hurdle, something in the way, a problem arises, something you weren't planning on. And if you've got a question about it, whether it be starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business, give us a call at 800-520-7600. It works just like a voicemail, so you can call anytime, day or night. That's 800-520-7600. Just leave your name and your question, and we may use it right here on the show. And also, don't forget, at AmeriLawyer.com/radio show, you can go back and listen to all of our episodes. Plus, send an email, radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com. Larry, we've got questions. Are you ready?
Ready to go. All fired up, Joe.
Here we go. First question of the day. This one coming from Jennifer.
Hi, this is Jennifer. In my neighborhood, there is a closed-down drive-through convenience store. It had been in business for a long time, but it went out of business about 6 months ago. I think it's a great opportunity, and I would like to contact the owner about the store, but there is no sign. How should I proceed? Thanks.
Well, Jennifer, I guess the first thing we want to do is to get the business location. That's where the effort has to be directed initially. So we're talking about lease negotiations, but we want to be sure that we are negotiating with the right person. It may very well be that the right person is the owner. It may very well be that the tenant still controls the property. Even though the business is vacant, the tenant may very well still be paying rent because he may have a bargain lease. So you need to do a little investigation. I'm always concerned about a property such as the one you're describing and it doesn't have a sign on it for sale or for rent or whatever. So without that, it's kind of misleading. Now, just because it had a sign on it doesn't necessarily answer these other questions I had either. Now, what I would encourage you to do is to check the public records, the real estate public records in the county in which the property is located. From there, you'll get the name of the owner. You can contact the owner because I think he's the highest one in the pyramid. If he is not the one in control of the property, he's going to probably let you know. I say probably because he may not. One of the things a landlord or owner may want to do, if he's got a bargain lease with somebody else, is to buy out that lease from the other person and then lease to you. So there's a whole host of issues when it comes to these negotiations relative to a business location. So keep that in mind. See if you can feel your way through that. Start with the public records and contact the owner and see where that takes you.
I love where she's going. The idea, closed down convenience store, it all sounds like a great idea to me. Hopefully she can pull it off. Next question, this one coming from Nick. Hello, I own 2 condo apartment units that are now worth less than half of what I owe. They are both rented, but the rent doesn't cover the monthly expenses. It wasn't a big deal before, but I no longer have the money to make up the difference. I need to take care of this soon. What is the best strategy?" asks Nick.
Well, Nick, in these types of situations, after asking some questions about the length of the mortgage, the amount of the mortgage, your credit standing, the answer probably lies with a strategic default. Now, a strategic default means you stop making the mortgage payments. That'll brighten up your cash flow considerably. But few entrepreneurs are willing to do this without the assistance of somebody that can help them to analyze the situation. Because what happens in the process is that your credit suffers. Now, what is your credit score? Then perhaps for each strategic default you take, you're probably going to drop 150 points on your credit score. I believe that in the future, lenders and other providers of credit will look at these strategic defaults much differently than the way we have looked at failure to make your mortgage payment in the past. And there's all kinds of programs coming down the pike all the time. The reason for the strategic default is to put yourself in the best position possible with the lender. That is over time, so that a loan gets very, very, very past due, and the lender has the incentive at some point to modify that mortgage and make it appealable to you to where you will have a positive cash flow and the mortgage will be more consistent with the value of the property. It's a big problem, but that's what we see clients doing, and we think that this works, and we think you ought to consider the strategic default route.
Now, you mentioned that you think in the future these things are going to be viewed differently. Is that because there are so many people in this situation? Nick is not alone out there.
Yeah, it definitely has to do with this whole idea that it's so encompassing that everybody recognizes the fact that the person that owns the property is the one that is least responsible for, let's call it, this real estate debacle. So these things will be viewed differently down the road, and there may very well come a time when the government has programs that just about everybody can fit into. But the strategic default forces the lender to deal with the situation eventually. But eventually could be an awfully long time. There are lenders out there that when an individual stops making a mortgage payment, it may take that lender 5 years to file a foreclosure action. That's 5 years without paying any mortgage payment.
Nick, best of luck to you. I hope you get it all squared away. We'll be back with more of your questions. 800-520-7600, radio show at AmeriLawyer.com. We're just getting started right here on AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today.
Start or expand your business today.
Spokesman is not an attorney. This message is brought to you by Lawrence J. Spiegel and Spiegel and Joe, PA, with offices in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa.
There are some mistakes in business that may cause the occasional headache. Then there are some mistakes in business that may keep you up all night for weeks and months at a time. You may be able to avoid those mistakes by seeking strategic business and legal advice from a team of attorneys ready to help you. Spiegel and Joe, PA's General Counsel Club can assist you with the tough legal and business questions at crucial times. Call toll-free 800-734-9900 to receive your annual membership and be entitled to get unlimited strategic business and legal advice for a year. The General Counsel Club can assist with how to buy or sell a business, converting hobby expenses into legitimate business expenses. What are legitimate business expenses for tax purposes? Tips on leasing a business location, whether for retail, office, warehouse, or industrial. Leasing versus buying options for vehicles and equipment. IRS examinations, audits, liens, levies, deficiencies, and settlements of tax dispute. Knowledge is power, and knowing that Spiegel and Joe, PA's General Counsel Club is one phone call away may give you the confidence to succeed during the day and rest well at night. Call 800-734-9900 or log on to AmeriLawyer.com today.
Got a question about starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business? Email radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com. Listeners' questions may air on episodes of AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. That's radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com. Now back to Start or Expand Your Business today.
Welcome back to Start or Expand Your Business Today. Joe Castello and Larry Spiegel taking your questions. There's entrepreneurs out there, Larry. There's questions, and they're all types. Anything you can possibly imagine, we're hearing it on the show.
We are. We're getting all types of questions. It's amazing, all the different issues that people are throwing at us.
It's time to get back into the questions, though. This one coming from Michael.
This is Mike. I've got a question about the business office lease. If all the conditions are met, I understand that the business can deduct the rent and the reimbursement to the employee for property and services, such as utilities. I also understand that those reimbursements are a working fringe benefit exempt from taxation. But is the rent also a working fringe benefit exempt from taxation, or is the rent claimed as regular rent income? Thanks very much.
Well, Michael, to answer the question, I want to not necessarily restate the question, but to go through this process of what I would consider to be a home office lease or a home business lease. In other words, the owner of the property is the owner of the business. He's not just the employee. And he is leasing out or renting out part of his home to the business. Now, as a result of that, there are a few expenses that are associated with that rental. Insurance, real estate taxes, utility bills, etc. So what we would recommend there in that case is that you take a percentage of the space that's being utilized by the business, and then each month the business would pay its proportionate share of the bills for the dwelling. It might be paying at some point, say 20% of the insurance, 20% of the utilities, the water, the electric, gas, whatever the case may be. And it makes those payments directly to those providers. That way we don't have any income going to the owner of the property or the owner of the business, which is one and the same. Then we come to this issue that you raise about the rental income itself that the owner is receiving for the property. Is that taxable? And the answer to the question is that yes, it is. However, the homeowner has an offsetting deduction, and that is the depreciation on the dwelling. So the idea with something like this is to have the rent that the owner receives equal the amount of the depreciation deduction which he would receive, so he doesn't end up with any taxable income as a result of the transaction with the business. Now, I hope this has answered your question, but I would again recommend you visit our website, AmeriLawyer.com. You surely can find the home office lease there. You can consider that to be the home business lease, and it will explain how this procedure works.
Michael, great question, and thank you for signing on. Best of luck to you. Moving along, next question. This one coming in from Rebecca. Hello, great show. I have a legal question. I'm interviewing for jobs, and I'm finding that many people are asking to see my Facebook page before they hire me. I have an issue with this on many levels, but legally, can I put a disclaimer that the photos and statements are not necessarily indicative of my behavior and thus cannot be a reason to not hire me? I feel that there should be some legal protection afforded to me to protect my private life from my potential employers, writes Rebecca.
Well, Rebecca, what we see out there today, again, this is one of those areas where there is no real, the law is in a state of, I don't even want to say, it's in a state of confusion, let's face it. So your idea of putting a disclaimer there, go ahead. But I believe that a lot of employers, and I say that, some of them not even knowing it, because people in their organization that processes employment applications may check somebody out on Facebook without the employer even knowing about it. I think as long as these types of media are out there and they're easily accessible, I think employers are going to look there. But let's put the shoe on the other foot if you were the employer. You're never going to admit to the fact that you made your hiring decision based upon what you found on somebody's Facebook page. There are so many other reasons one can come up with for not hiring somebody. I don't think it's ever going to come down to what's on Facebook. But we all know, and here at the studio I'm looking at the engineer, and he knows that if you put things on your Facebook page they may very well come back to haunt you. So you have to be careful. And the same thing we hear it for children. They put things on their Facebook page, and colleges are looking at those Facebook pages as part of their admission process. So we need a lot of direction in this area, but I do not believe that an employer will ever stop looking at Facebook pages as part of his hiring decision. And I think because of shows like this, more and more employers will look to the social media content of the potential employees to see what's there.
I think people need to just learn the lesson that you need to be cautious about what you put there.
Well, I can envision another type of situation, and that is where people put things out there for the potential employer. And then the employer is hoodwinked, and he employs this person because of what he saw there. And unbeknownst to him, it was all put there so as to enable this person to get the position that they were looking for.
Me holding a $20,000 commission check, you know, big sale.
Well, what we end up with here is this negation. There's a negation for the one side, the employee, and another for the employer. So we end up with something that we can't believe in the end, basically. And it'll be of virtually no value at some point.
At some point, who knows when that will come, but the whole social media thing, it's a wild roller coaster, and we are on it just like this show. If you've got a question, 800-520-7600. It's a voicemail. Leave your name, where you're calling from, and your question, and we may use it right here on the show. Also, email radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com, where you can find more episodes, AmeriLawyer.com/radio show. We'll be back after this with more. AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today.
AmeriLawyer.com.
Spokesman is not an attorney. This message is brought to you by Lawrence J. Spiegel and Spiegel and Joe PA, with offices in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa.
Start or expand your business today. Form your Florida corporation for only $99.95. Each corporation is complete and includes state filing fees, corporation records book, corporate seal, articles of incorporation, corporate bylaws, corporate minutes, stock certificate, preliminary name search, and attorney's fees. Spiegel and Joe PA and AmeriLawyer.com can also help you with assumed or fictitious business names, advising on legitimate business expenses for tax purposes, discussing whether it's possible to convert personal expenses into deductible business expenses, answering your questions about the differences between a corporation and a limited liability company, and the benefits of forming either a corporation or a limited liability company. Knowledge is power. Order over the phone at 800-603-3900. That's 800-603-3900. Or online at AmeriLawyer.com.
Got a question about starting, expanding, buying, or selling your business? Call 800-520-7600. Just leave your name and your question. Listeners' questions may air on episodes of AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today. That's 800-520-7600. Now back to Start or Expand Your Business Today.
Final segment here on Start or Expand Your Business Today. We've got more of your questions and Larry's final thought coming up. But Larry, I love hearing from these entrepreneurs out there. It gets me excited about business and opportunity, just hearing people get excited. I hope that's the effect we're having on them with the show.
Well, I certainly hope so, too. Just so many issues, and sometimes I find it's hard to synthesize the answer down to something for them, because almost immediately after answering a question, I think of other issues that relate to that same sort of context. So I hope that we're helping them and at least raising their awareness about these issues and how they can focus on them and look at them a little bit differently than maybe they had in the past.
This one coming from Peter. Peter writes, "Hello, this is Peter. My business owns a trademark, and my business partner and I are splitting up. During this process, I have discovered that our company's trademark is not under the business name, but under the name of the partner that is leaving. I don't know if this is going to be a problem, but if it does become one, what right does the business have to the logos that we have created?" Asks Peter.
Well, Peter, this is a difficult issue because you have to go back to the determination of the ownership of the trademark itself. And I know in your question you state that the business owns the trademark. So that shouldn't be a problem if the other partner agrees with that. Then it's simply a question of how much. If you're going to stay with the business, you want the trademark. What is the other partner getting as he leaves the business? Now, as he leaves the business, it would seem to me that the trademark is unique to the business. He shouldn't have any qualms at all about transferring the trademark over to the business or to you. Of course, I believe that if it is an entity that you have, a corporation or an LLC, it should be transferred to that. There's no problem with the transference of the ownership of the trademark, providing he's willing to transfer it. If he's not willing to transfer it, then this dispute that you have with him may end up in court, because the only reason I could think that he would not want to transfer it to you is because he wants to use it. And if he wants to use it, that means to me that he's going to be competing against you. Now, I've seen situations similar to this over the years where, yes, the other partner is going to be using the trademark, but he's moving 3,000 miles away, and he's only going to be using it there where he's within that radius, that county where he's going to be located. So there's nothing perhaps wrong with that. You can enter into an agreement like that with him as far as the utilization is concerned. But I think you still have to address the ownership issue, because if he's going to own the trademark, then he's going to give you a perpetual royalty-free right to use it. Where? That's got to be determined. And then on the other hand, where is he going to use it? And is that going to interfere with you? So it can be a complicated issue, but one that could be sorted out. The litmus test here, the acid test as it were, is this idea of the transference of the trademark to you or to the business. Because once he's unwilling to do that, then you know that he wants the trademark, and you have to address the issue why.
Peter, great question and difficult situation. I hope it all works out for you. And all right, final question, then we'll get to Larry's final thought. This one coming from Terry. Terry writes, I own a retail business that has high volume but low margins. Sales have been slowing due to increasing competition. Would it be a wise move to try utilizing sites like Groupon or Living Social to help drive sales back up? It would probably reduce my sales into negative profit margins, but the hope would be to drive repeat customers at full price. However, my concern is that if I don't get the repeat customers, I may handicap my future sales, writes Terry.
Well, Terry, thank you for your question. It's quite a question. It has a lot of facets to it, and I'm sure the listeners understand that. I would not favor ever promoting a product or a service at less than its cost, just to drive in customers for what I hoped would be repeat business. That's my take on that. Of course, there are other people that would differ with that, and you have to decide that for yourself. I'm not saying don't do it, but I wouldn't do it. I would look to compete on some other method than what it is you're trying to compete with here. And basically, if we boil it down and you talk about Groupon or Living Social, you're competing on price, basically. You're saying, come, use my service based on this price. Well, there are other ways to compete. And I think you need to think about that in relation to your business. What other avenues could you utilize to compete with the other businesses that you consider to be your competitors? Looking at that, there are some things that you could consider. Obviously, you're already thinking about price. What about speed of service? It's another way to compete. You'll see that these furniture retailers frequently now talk about same-day delivery. They're competing on that basis. And you could look around at other businesses and see what these points are that they're using as a selling point with their business. Another thing is financing. There are financing options out there that businesses use those to compete against other businesses. So do your homework in your area. Make a list of these, what I would call competitive advantages, and see what of those you can adapt to your business and allow yourself to compete on that basis, rather than on the basis of price.
Terry, thanks for your email. Certainly appreciate it. And that's going to do it for the questions here today. Remember, if you've got a question, 800-520-7600 or radio show at AmeriLawyer.com. Great show, big things, and best of luck to all of you. But now it's time for Larry's final thought.
Joe, as we were going through this show here, I was thinking about the work strategy that clients are utilizing to get things done. And the idea is that you have to energize your work strategy. It's not enough just to think about something or develop a methodology to go about getting something done, but you actually have to do it too. And then once you set about doing the work, focus on it so that you can achieve the result that you expect.
Larry, great job as usual. And to you listeners out there, if you've got a question about starting, expanding, buying or selling your business or legal strategy, give us a call, 800-520-7600. It's just like a voicemail, so anytime, day or night, 2 a.m., whenever you want to call, whenever that question strikes, 800-520-7600. Leave your name and your question, and we may use it right here on the show. You can also email us at radioshow@AmeriLawyer.com, where you'll find more episodes, AmeriLawyer.com/radio show. Larry, take us home.
Well, everybody out there, I hope you're planning your work and working your plan, and you'll get the results that you're looking for.
He's Larry Spiegel. I'm Joe Castello, and we'll see you next time right here on AmeriLawyer.com presents Start or Expand Your Business Today.
AmeriLawyer.com, where understanding your business is our business.
Spokesman is not an attorney. This message is brought to you by Lawrence J. Spiegel and Spiegel and Joe Castello, PA, with offices in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa.
There are some mistakes in business that may cause the occasional headache. Then there are some mistakes in business that may keep you up all night for weeks and months at a time. You may be able to avoid those mistakes by seeking strategic business and legal advice from a team of attorneys ready to help you. Spiegel and Joe Castello, PA's General Counsel Club can assist you with the tough legal and business questions at crucial times. Call toll-free 800-734-9900 to receive your annual membership and be entitled to get unlimited strategic business and legal advice for a year. The General Counsel Club can assist with selecting a legal and tax structure for your business, building business credit, when a trust should own your corporation or limited liability company. What are the benefits of forming a corporation or limited liability company? What are the differences between a corporation and limited liability company? Using employees versus independent contractors. Knowledge is power, and knowing that Spiegel and Joe Castello, PA's General Counsel Club is one phone call away may give you the confidence to succeed during the day and rest well at night. Call 800-734-9900 or log on to AmeriLawyer.com today.